welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Four-wheel drive show. I'm your host, Paul Tripoli. To my left is Billy Pendock, my high school teammate, and below his Syracuse teammate, Blaze Winter. We all played in college. We all played football in the pros. Billy played in CFL and the NFL in 10, 12 years. What did you get, 11 years in, Blaze, in the NFL?
11, yes.
11 years?
Yeah,
2 number ones. That's right, boys. Thanks for watching the show. This is brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge. I want to thank all my great sponsors. Four-wheel drive show, as you can see ahead of me. We got half of it here. Timmy Green, our high school, Billy and my high school teammate, has ALS. Shout out to Timmy and their Syracuse teammate, of course, that great fearsome four-wheel drive. Jamie Kimmel's the other 4. All right, guys, today's subject, we're going to tackle home field advantage. What is it like? Some maybe tell a story about some of the stadiums that you had. I got a few stories, one from high school, college, and the pros that I'm going to tell. So I'm Billy. I'm going to start out since you and I were high school teammates. In the orange and blue. Billy, you went from orange and blue Liverpool Warrior to orange and blue Syracuse. You didn't have to change any of your clothes. Shout out to Billy Pendock, building champion.
Yeah, Billy's shirt.
Hey, it's the only orange shirt that I own.
Nice.
I have a Billy Pendock shirt.
Blaze uses his to wax his car with.
Careful.
All right, all right, let's go. Let's tell the story. Home field advantage. This is probably the most amazing story. This is the most amazing story that I have, okay? And it came from high school, obviously. But there's a reason behind the story. There's actually a story behind the story, okay? Now, Billy, George O'Leary came up to our high school in 1977, and we had a losing record for many years, turned our program around. But we always played our home games downtown Liverpool at the Municipal Stadium. What was the name of that stadium, Billy?
That was Griffin Field.
Griffin Field. We played down at Griffin Field. 1979, George got a hold of one of our teammates' fathers, Tony Emmy's dad, who owned the farm, owns Emmy Farms to this day. He went and got a truck from Georgia. Got a truck from Georgia and decided we're going to have a field on campus. The school's got 4,000 students, and we don't have a home field advantage. So he went and we prepared the field. Okay, we brought the sod in, we laid the sod, we watered it, we fertilized it, we cut the grass, we pitched out a tent for weeks, made sure nobody damaged that field, and we took such pride in it. Come around, Billy, our season, this is the God's honest truth, and you can check it in all the history books. We did not give up 1 point on our field all year long. Not 1 point. I don't think anybody got through the red zone. That's how dominant we were. We were so disciplined, Billy. We took such pride in that field because it was our baby that nobody was going to score a point on us, and by God, nobody did.
Now that is home field advantage right there. That's home field advantage. Yes, it is.
And that's to the point of, you talk about people when they think about home field advantage, they think about your fans, your 12th man, your stuff like that goes on. But when I think about anywhere I've ever been, and I've been all over, and I still go back to that time in high school when it wasn't just about having your home crowd there cheering you on. It was about that mystique of doing that stuff to that field, sweating together as a team. And George O'Leary saying, you take offense to anybody coming on your field, stepping on your grass, and you take offense to that, and you make sure you send them home without even scoring a point here. And that was the biggest part of home field advantage for me.
Absolutely. It was personal.
Home field advantage is also about a environment that is climate driven. I mean, you have to remember, I spent 4 years at Green Bay. I mean, you talk about a home field advantage with number one, obviously, fan base, sellouts. I mean, they have a waiting list of 30 years. 30 years to get in that stadium and become a season holder at Lambeau Field. I mean, Lambeau Field, just the name alone, speaks of championship. I mean, they've won more championships than any other team in the NFL. I mean, to have a chance to play there for 4 years and be around that history and the climate. I mean, you enter late November or December, you're in the teens. You're in 5 to 10 degrees. You have snow flurries. You have everyone is sort of smiling about, oh man, do I feel sorry for Miami? Oh man, do I feel sorry for Atlanta coming up here? Man, I feel sorry for any team that would. And a lot of these guys would say to me after shake hands, why aren't you covering this from the dome? Why the hell are you guys? Why do you want to play outside? Why do you want to play outside up here? And man, that's the home field advantage.
Right.
I mean,
That's home field advantage.
The atmosphere, Lambeau Field. I mean, they just had the NFL draft there, and a town of maybe 200,000. It is the most crazy college atmosphere for an NFL town. I mean, it gives you that energy and that constant.
Man, the blessing to play at the greatest, professional stadium. Kent Johnston talks about it when I had him on the show because he was in Green Bay for 7-8 years. The history, the pride, the passion, the client environment that you talk about.
There's nowhere to hide. Billy, nowhere to hide. You can't go anywhere. If you look like Billy, I mean, you see the photographs up there behind him? I mean, you look like that, you're a football player. Come on in. It wasn't come into a restaurant. Come into my house. Come into my house. We'll have dinner. We'll have a few brats. We'll have some, beer. We'll have some cheese.
Now, Blaze. Now, back it up a little bit. Blaze remembers this. We opened the Dome in 1980, and I remember. Now they called it the Carrier Dome. Now, Carrier is known for its air conditioning. Now, the Dome never had air conditioning. Now, the air in the Dome was not like, even when teams came up from the south that played in 90-degree weather, that Dome air, Blaze, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right, man. It was hot.
It was a different feeling playing at home in the Dome. And
doesn't the Dome reverberate? I mean, didn't it get really loud? Do you remember some big games in the Dome that it just got deafening?
We put in 1980 to 84 was the only 3 or 4 years that they put 50,000 plus in that Dome, and you couldn't hear you couldn't hear yourself thinking to each other. It was just incredible how much noise that was in there. With 55.
It was an amazing place. And the humidity and the heat. I mean, people sitting, all that atmosphere, all those people bodies close to one another. It was
Paulie, they up in the third tier, the third section, the first year, the second year, they were hauling people out of there from passing out from the humidity and the heat.
That's home field advantage. Okay, that's home field advantage. All right. And let's jump to that. I'm going to jump to the stadium because something happened to me in a Dome stadium when I was in the NFL that never happened to me in the history of playing football, all the 20 years that I played football. We were playing the Saints, and we were in the Superdome, and it was packed to the hilt. It was 1987, the second to last game of the year, and the Saints had to win that game to go to the playoffs for the first time in decades. And they squeaked it out over us. And that place was so electric that I got goosebumps and the hair stood up in the back of my neck. And that's never happened to me ever, and it never happened to me again after that. But that's home field advantage, man. That place was so electric that I've never seen. I played in the Metrodome and the Silver Dome and the, Indianapolis's dome, but the Superdome was far and above. You played a lot of domes too, Blaze. Did you see any home field advantage from the domes? Or
and every stadium in my mind has a certain something. I mean, when you played at Arizona, you were dealing with, oh, please don't let it be midday and we have a offense drive the ball 20 plays down the field, because we were going to be absolutely ready to cut our own throats. I mean, the heat, the unbearable heat and then you go to Miami, you had this humidity of playing around 1:00 in the afternoon. That you look at the airplane ride on the way home back to Green Bay, and every other row had an IV hanging from the luggage rack, and the IVs were running to every other person on the airplane was getting an IV in their arm because they were so incredibly dehydrated from playing in that atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, people worried about the cold weather. But for some of us like Billy and I, man, you go down to the heat and the humidity of an Arizona or a Miami on the other side of it. What about Arrowhead? Arrowhead is one of the most intimidating places to play on the earth. I mean, it is so incredible.
Why is that, Blaze?
The fan base is so loyal. I think they're very similar to Green Bay.
Right.
They buy in 100%, and the pressure's on from the time you land Saturday afternoon at the airport, all the way through till the time you leave. They're 100% on board with their team. There are some teams that hey, man, we're not winning by the first quarter, man. Screw them. Philadelphia. Philadelphia's like, wow, if we can start, if we could be winning by any time, the fan base will what? Quit on the team. They'll quit on the team. That's what's amazing about Philly or winning the Super Bowl is that fan base is either with you or not with you in the same game.
Yeah, right.
Molly, let Blaze talk. Blaze, talk about going into West Virginia.
Oh my God.
Well, why'd West Virginia have a home field advantage?
Oh, Jesus.
Tell Billy. Tell that story.
I'm going to tell you, Molly, from the minute you landed in the airport to when you got out of that place, it was that the fans were just incredible. You got to remember that's a college football town. Now, I mean, I don't mind an orange or two once in a while, but 3,000 of them coming out of the stands from 300 feet up, and people they're going to cut your throat every chance you get, and that musket going off, between.
Hey, was that one of those games you had to keep your helmet on in the sidelines? Was that one of those games? Yeah, I've had those.
And Billy and I were laughing at the idea that we had helmets on. As coaches says, keep your helmet on, but the coaches never had helmets. So they were the ones getting Jess O'Leary humbled with oranges. Humbled. And it was actually rather
my gosh. All right. So home field advantage is a real thing. 1981. After experience home field advantage in high school at Liverpool, I went to Alabama. And in 1981, we had a 57-game home win streak at Bama, Tuscaloosa. 57 games. Well, Southern Miss, with a quarterback named Reggie Collier, put an end to that. I think it was 6-3. They beat us, and the places that were tough to play in the SEC is the Swamp, at Tennessee, and at LSU. Those are the hardest places. Now, you got to remember the Iron Bowl was not in Tuscaloosa or in Auburn back in those days. We played in Birmingham every year. So those were a real home field advantage. Alabama, Coach Bryant was the same way as George was. Home field advantage. You have to take it personal. Nobody's going to come on our field, in our town and beat us here. It was just a pride thing. It was and then when they broke the streak, it was like, oh my God, man, what the world is coming to an end. One quick point here when we're talking about home field advantage, and you're talking about back, and I mean, we think back to, and I don't know about Blaze, but back in high school, but even at the Dome, the first year, second year, the home field meant football only. And you look at our high school football field, and you think about today, there's no more football games only played on high school fields. You got lacrosse, you got track, you got JV, you got girls soccer. Back years ago, home field to us, even at the Dome the first year, was football only. And we didn't even practice in there because it meant so much to us as far as being at home.
That is a great point. That is a great point. The empowering feeling to a player that is our field. You're right, man. You don't see that much anymore. You just don't, man. That is so gratifying to know that, man, nobody's allowed to touch our field but us.
Right.
Wow, I still am amazed at that statistic, and I coached for 20 years, and I mean that happened when I coached the middle school team, but not a high school, man. I've never seen a high school have shutouts every single home game of their season. It's just it just doesn't happen. That's a one-off. And still I'm amazed, and it was only because of us putting the blood, sweat, and tears into building the field, actually building it. We didn't inherit it. It wasn't a hand-me-down. It hasn't been around. The field was not a piece of shit. I mean, it was brand new turf, and it was a lot of these high schools, even down here in the South, which is football is way more passionate. The practice fields are just sad. Prickers all over, dirt. It's just,
there is a really good friend of mine, Tim Racky. Maybe you know his name. He's in the Chicago area. He used to coach at Driscoll High School. And Driscoll was one of those high schools sitting right near the O'Hare Airport. It was a small radius of student athletes. It wasn't a large radius. I mean, I know because I worked with him for 8 years, and in 8 years they had one Division I player, one. But in the same 8 years, they won 8 state titles. One Division I player, 8 state titles in a row out of this little hole-in-the-wall field and high school where you would say there's no way they're going to play South Oak or this team or that team survive. And I'm not a team. Tim, coached by a guy named Tim Racky, who could change the mindset of the athlete about this is our field. And if they step on our field, you know what ends up happening. I mean, he had these boys lathered up. They were drooling. They could not wait to say, you go home, man. You never come back here. You stay the hell away from us.
That's
Go home with a loss. and you're going to think twice about coming. Oh man, I never saw a group of high schoolers that had these. It was almost like turning on a switch. They were like, man, what is wrong with you guys?
Ultra focused. Yeah, you got them ultra focused.
Oh, Tim, look him up. Chicago area. He went on to Nazareth High School, Nazareth, and has won another half dozen state titles.
Hey, Tim Rackey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your field even looks like as long as you have the pride. Look at Bob Hurley, what he did in the basketball New Jersey, St. Anthony's.
Yeah.
They practiced in a bingo hall, and he still beat everybody in a bingo hall. He made such pride of a bingo hall court that it didn't matter where you played.
That is a great point. That is an
Billy,
awesome point.
You want to give the final thought, Billy?
Well, like I said, back to what I was saying, people that think about home field advantage, everybody thinks about fans and pep rallies and stuff going on, which is right. But when it comes down to it, if you buy into that personal pride in your field, where you live, where you play, that is the biggest part of home field advantage.
Yep, that's right. That's right. LSU believes it. Tennessee, the Swamp, anybody that is passionate about their team, they want to have home field advantage. Noise does have a lot to do with it, but you know what, man? Come to think about it, it was all white noise to me, man. I never heard the crowd hardly ever, except maybe after a touchdown, after something, maybe. But
that's exactly
you never heard it.
What I'm talking about.
You never heard it because it is amazing what happens to athletes. We turn it on. We open up when we want to, when we need that energy and that fuel, right, Billy? It's
yes.
like after a sack. Oh, I want to hear all that noise. So you immediately turn it on.
Yeah, that's right.
Rush. And then, hey, you shut it off. And you get ready for another play. Oh, man. I miss those days.
You're right. You're exactly right. That's what happens. Oh, man. Good show, guys. Man,
right.
Blazer, I'm so glad you're feeling better, man, and doing good and still with us, God willing. Billy, I love you, man. I love you guys. Yeah. Thanks for doing it. It was another killer show. Hey, have a great sports week, guys. We'll attack it next Wednesday again. Thanks.
All right, man.
You guys, take care.
Best of luck, Blazer.
All right, buddy.
See you, buddy. Love you guys, man. That was awesome. Awesome show. Okay. Talking about home field advantage. Hope you got a lot of fun out of that. I did. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these sponsors, it just wouldn't be possible. If you like the podcast, please like it and share it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great sports night. Talk to you soon. So long.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service in high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We sell-fund for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center. Thank you.